Transportation is so superb.
The level of accommodation is better.
Very close to the Prophet Mosque.
I felt I should still be here to still worship more.
The changes have been so magnificent, so incredible.
Medina was a wonderful experience.
They exceeded our expectation.
For me, the Hajj service scheme is something which we must start.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuhu. Welcome to another edition of the program As You Answer the Call. I am Fatima Umaru Hadeja. As the fourth board of the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, NAHCON, hits the ground running, attention is now focused on the preparations of the 2020 Hajj exercise. To this end, NAHCON leadership is embarking on the second phase of the pre-Hajj visit, where it is expected to meet with service providers. Details of these and other stories, including the NAHCON chairman's visit to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, will come your way in the news segment of the program. Also in the package, the new leadership at NAHCON, headed by Hajj Hassan, has unveiled its key policies towards improving Hajj operations in Nigeria. What are these policies and what are the strategies deployed for their actualization? This is the thrust of our segment Spotlight. Stay tuned for these and more after the break. Don't go away. Thanks for being there. We begin the program with the news diary as presented from our studio. Officials of the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, NAHCON, have embarked on another round of pre-Hajj visit to Saudi Arabia. Addressing them before departure, the chairman of the commission, Hajj Hassan, appealed to members of the pre-Hajj committee led by the commission's Commissioner of Operations, Abdullahi Hardawa, to work towards ensuring the reduction of Hajj fare components. The event took place at the conference room of the Hajj House in Abuja.
The expectations of most Muslims, and you must have heard that too, is that this year Hajj price should go down. And I want all of us to be resolute that this year Hajj price must go down. And anybody who say that is easy must be the joker of the year. Because we don't just want it to go down, we also don't want to let the quality go down as well.
Speaking on behalf of the committee members, Chairman of the committee, Abdullahi Hardawa, gave the assurance that they will discharge the responsibility diligently.
Each and every one of us serving on this committee is equally committed to ensure we achieve just that. How we do it? Yes, there are certain strategies. But what is important and expected of all of us is sincerity and commitment to achieve that.
While in Saudi Arabia, the committee will be joined by various state delegations to inspect apartments and kitchens engaged to provide services for Nigerian pilgrims during the 2020 Hajj exercise. The visit is also a consolidation of the previous one, in which different MOUs on services were signed between Nigeria and Saudi Arabia. The Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Zubairu Dada, has called on NAHCON leadership to double their efforts in protecting the interests of Nigerian pilgrims. He was speaking when top officials of the commission led by its chairman, Hajj Hassan, visited the ministry in Abuja. He said the ministry will continue to support NAHCON to ensure successful Hajj management.
It's a trust of a people. Especially you will find the greatest number of pilgrims, maybe first-timers, who have never had an experience, who may never have seen an aircraft in their lives, who may never have seen a dollar in their lives, and who are being exposed, as it were, on this exercise for the very first time. So they are really very green, very innocent. And that in itself does not make it easy for you as people who have been charged with the responsibility of giving them leadership and making the Hajj as easy as possible for them.
In his response, NAHCON chairman thanked the ministry for its support, saying the commission is focused on implementing policies that will make Hajj affordable for Nigerians. In a related development, the NAHCON chairman also paid courtesy visit to the Controller General of the Nigerian Immigration Service, Mohammed Babandede. Speaking at the occasion, NAHCON chairman Hajj Zikrullah Kunle Hassan expressed satisfaction with the working relationship between the two organizations, calling on the Immigration Service to address the challenge of long waiting hours by Nigerian pilgrims during the outbound journey. Responding, the Nigerian Immigration Service Controller General Mohammed Babandede congratulated the NAHCON new leadership and promised that Nigerian pilgrims for 2020 Hajj will benefit from the new enhanced international passport recently launched by the federal government. The National Hajj Commission of Nigeria NAHCON and the Islamic Development Bank IDB are perfecting plans to provide training for NAHCON staff in order to develop Hajj operation. This was the outcome of a meeting held at IDB's headquarters in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. NAHCON Northeast Zonal Director Zakaria Umar led the Commission's delegation at the meeting with top IDB officials.
Alhamdulillah, if you are just tuning in, the program is As You Answer the Call, a public enlightenment presentation on the activities of the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, NAHCON. Shortly after the new chairman of the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, NAHCON, assumed office, he wasted no time in unveiling the policies of the new boards towards improving Hajj operations in Nigeria. Details of these emerge in the interviews we had with the chairman and the 3 executive commissioners of the commission. Stay tuned as we bring you the discussions in our next segment, Spotlight.
لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك إن الحمد والنعمة لك والملك لا شريك لك.
The 4th Board of the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria NAHCON, under the leadership of Hajj Zikrullah Kunle Hassan, assumed office with a lot of promises. Some of the promises articulated upon its inauguration include injecting professionalism in Hajj management, reducing the cost of Hajj fare, reducing the number of days Nigerian pilgrims spend after performing Hajj, and effective pilgrims' enlightenment. These and many more are the key policies that the 4th Board promised to carry out in order to further consolidate on the successes recorded in Hajj operations in Nigeria. But accomplishing these goals will require good plans and strategic thinking because, as the chairman puts it, Hajj exercise is much more than just an annual event, but an endeavor that is knowledge-driven.
When we're talking of Hajj as a profession, it's because we recognize the fact that Hajj is worship, Hajj is tourism, Hajj includes flights, Hajj includes hotel, Hajj includes several other things that requires person to have some deep knowledge of it. The fact that you're an Islamic scholar is not sufficient enough to take people to Hajj. Equally, the fact that you're a travel consultant does not prepare you to take people to Hajj. So because of the very components that are very key to make a successful Hajj operation, we recognize the fact it's very important to make Hajj a profession. And to do so, it means you have to undergo some field of studies. You have to be certificated, indeed to be called a professional. I think that's just about it.
The policies put in place at the Commission are carefully designed to cover the long and short-term objectives. Of particular interest is the issue of Hajj fare reduction that has both short and long-term approach.
We're already having meetings with all the stakeholders that our goal is to make Hajj affordable. We will not succeed totally in pulling it down this year, but at least we'll make some effort to make some cost reduction. In addition to this, other issue that can make Hajj really affordable is the issue of the Hajj saving scheme. And that is one thing that we will work with the federal government of Nigeria, particularly with our purposeful leader, the President Muhammad Buhari, to ensure that Hajj saving scheme is allowed to come to life, so that with it we can also use it as a way of alleviating the plight of so many people who want to go to Hajj, yet who cannot afford the sum in a lump sum.
The number of days being spent by Nigerian pilgrims in Mecca after the Hajj is also another issue that NAHCON is expected to take on with Saudi authorities.
We are already working with our staffs in the office here to ensure that we look for a program to reduce it. We are not going to reduce it to just one day. We are just to find a way of reduction. And why do we want to reduce? We have the belief that Hajj ride is just 5-6 days. Yeah, there are times that you want to spend for worship in the mosque, in the Grand Mosque in Makkah, Medina. Yes, that's part of it as well. We'll find a way of reducing by working with our people here. We don't know how many number of days, but at least one day we will reduce. That's our goal.
NAHCON Commissioner of Operations Abdullahi Hardawa spoke in the same vein, but with emphasis on how the policy can be actualized.
The Saudi authorities came up with a policy that any country taking in pilgrims to the kingdom with a number of, I think, 30,000 also, if I can remember very well, will be required to necessarily separate the movement to last over a period of 30 days. And if that is the case, the minimum period we could spend in Saudi Arabia would be 30 days, all things being equal. That is, if there are no solos that are cancelled, if everybody operates optimally as expected, then we may be able to stay in the kingdom for about 30 days. But with failures here and there, the more we experience failures, the more we stay, or the longer we stay in Saudi Arabia.
In addition to this, he said commitment of other relevant stakeholders, such as the states and airliners, is crucial for the success of the policy.
The states must be up and doing, such that they will upload the data of all intended pilgrims on the Hajj track. That will give us enough information for us to plan the operation effectively. And also other relevant agencies, such as the airlines, will have the opportunity to effectively plan their operations.
Noura Hassan Yakase is the Commissioner of Policy, Personnel, Management and Finance at NAHCON. He unveils plans through which the Commission's set objectives will come to fruition.
We have to look at policy on the staff and also all other policies that encompasses our operation. So basically, with this one, if we focus on these areas, we will help the Commission to achieve its objective.
He also identified staff welfare, training, capacity building, departmental as well as institutional synergy as very critical factors that are central to the success of NAHCON.
For us to achieve our basic objective, we have to make sure that we have a competent workforce. Competent workforce in the sense that can achieve our objective very effective and efficiently. A workforce that can work with less or little supervision. A workforce that whatever action they took or they did, it will impact on the Hajj operation and in the end on the pilgrims. So we need to have that type of workforce. And for us to have that type of workforce, we have to make sure that at least we focus on things that will improve that workforce. One of the things that we really focus is training and retraining of the workforce, both here locally and internationally, to make sure that they achieve the set objective of the Commission.
Pushing through these policies is to give pilgrims value for their money. But most fundamentally, pilgrims must also know how to perform the Hajj rites, which is the main objective of the whole exercise. On this issue, NAHCON Commissioner of Planning, Research, Statistics, Information and Library Services, Sheikh Momo Suleiman, reiterates vigorous pursuits of pilgrims' education and enlightenment.
All the manasik of Hajj, the rites of Hajj, they need to know them and know how to perform them correctly. The Prophet ﷺ was telling us about Hajj, the reward of Hajj. He didn't just say Hajj, and he added Al-Maburu. And he said, Hajj al-Maburu, laysa lahu jaza illa al-Jannah.
Apart from getting pilgrims to understand Hajj rites, attention will also be focused on other related matters, such as the rules and regulations of international travels.
We need to sensitize the public that drugs are not allowed, whether they are hard drugs or whether they are soft drugs. That any drug that can be allowed to sail through into the land of Saudi, there are those drugs that the medical doctors would have certified, and for your health reasons. But otherwise, they need a lot of sensitization in this regard, so that we don't have victims of circumstances.
In all these efforts, the bottom line is for better service delivery to pilgrims, says NAHCON chairman.
We will not sleep until we ensure that the best is given to the Nigerian pilgrims. We believe that's what we deserve. We have the 5th largest Muslim population in the world. We are the largest black Muslim nation in the world. We are a giant of Africa, not just as a country, but as faith-based people. And so this is what we want to tell our pilgrims, that we are conscious of this, that we have a pact with history, and therefore we'll do the very best for Nigerian pilgrims.
While welcoming these policies of NAHCON, all stakeholders, including pilgrims, are expected to play their roles in line with the Commission's objectives, so as to further consolidate on efforts to improve on Hajj operations in Nigeria.
MashaAllah, you are still watching as you answer the call. Coming up next is Making the Hajj.
When proceeding for Hajj or Umrah, prospective pilgrims are expected to prepare themselves on how to perform the rites associated with the exercise. This entails making adequate preparations spiritually, financially, as well as physically, among others. Tonight on Making the Hajj, Ustaz Zikrullah Ibrahim sheds more light on these preparations. He begins by defining the concept of Hajj.
Hajj is a spiritual journey by answer to the call of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to go and visit the holy house in Mecca for the special religious duty. You perform this duty in specific time, which is the 5th pillar of Islam. Perform it in accordance to the Sunnah of Prophet Muhammad. May be peace and blessing of Allah be upon him.
Prospective pilgrims must ensure that the source of the money to pay for the Hajj is lawful.
The Prophet said, the moment a pilgrim starts his own labbaik Allahumma labbaik, the malaika will tell you that, oh yes, Allah is answering you, and your Hajj is acceptable Hajj because the source of your money is from halal way. So that's why it's quite advisable for somebody that is going embark on this journey should make this journey from the halal source of way, so that the reward given to him in this journey will get it 100%.
How are intending pilgrims expected to prepare themselves spiritually?
Seek for knowledge of what is going to do there. Because you cannot say you are going to perform an ibadah without knowing what you are going to do there. Somebody cannot say that he's going to perform salat now and he doesn't know how to perform salat and expect to get the full reward. No. So the pilgrim, intending pilgrim, has to look for the knowledge. Get books. Look for malams that will explain this thing for you. Look for books. Search is in any way that you know that yes, you can get the knowledge.
Seeking Allah's forgiveness and making reconciliation with one another are also some of the requirements to be fulfilled by persons preparing to perform the Hajj. Furthermore, intending pilgrims must make available what their families need for the period they will be away in the Holy Land.
Likewise, you have to prepare for the family that you are going to leave back at home. Your family should not be go and borrow Maggi or salt from the relative or from the neighbor because you go to for Hajj. So you have to prepare for them, make the provision for them, so that you can now perform your Hajj rites with full concentration.
What about the medical needs of intending pilgrims?
Somebody that you know that he has some communicating disease or epilepsy, who know that he can deathly attack at any time. So he has to seek the advice of his doctor whether to go or not to go. But if to go, he has to be let it know to the people that are in charge.
While stressing the need for intending pilgrims to engage themselves in exercises in order to be physically fit to stand the rigors of the Hajj, Ustaz Zikrullah points out that the most important of all the preparations for intending pilgrims is the fear of Allah.
Alhamdulillah. How many times have you made attempts to answer our quiz questions without winning? Don't be discouraged. This may be your chance to emerge a winner. And so, here we go with the question. Welcome to the quiz segment. Our last question in the program was, mention the two types of miqat. The correct answer is miqatul zaman or time and miqatul makan or place. The winner is Bilyamin Abdulrazak from Kaduna State. He provided the answer ahead of others. Bilyamin Abdulrazak will be contacted on how NAHCON will reach him with the prize he won. A quiz winner will get 25,000 naira cash prize. This is part of NAHCON's effort in social investment in Nigeria. For this week, the question is, what period of the Islamic calendar is called Miqatul Zaman? I repeat, what period of the Islamic calendar is called Miqatul Zaman? Text your answer to the number shown on your screen. The winner will be the first person whose correct answer is received. All answers should carry the name and location of sender. Good luck and happy viewing. That's it on this week's edition of the program As You Answer the Call. Join me same time next week for another package. Good night and thank you for watching.
لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك إن الحمد والنعمة